Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Church Leadership Lab, where our goal is to have conversations that empower healthy churches. We are glad that you have chosen to join us again, whether you're driving in the car or on the treadmill or anything like that. My name's Scott, one of your hosts, here with Casey, my co-host. How's it going, Casey?
It's great. I know that I'm breaking every rule, but we just said off camera today is Ice Cream Day, National Ice Cream Day. So for those people on the treadmill, I'm not on the treadmill and planning my ice cream day. So I'm great.
I love it. I hope whenever you're hearing this, you just take it as National Ice Cream Day.
Your own personal National Ice Cream Day. That's fair.
Yeah. Celebrate how you choose.
I choose.
I wish there was some way, like if there was a poll on the different podcast apps, which a lot of people listen to this on Apple, some on Spotify, whatever. But whatever you're listening to, I wish there was a way to like hit a button and a poll that says like, here's what I'm doing right now. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Or really personal. Like there's a lot of things like, I don't really want to know what you're doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you did it as a poll, you can make it generic. I don't want to fill in the blank. Like, no, thank you. But
no,
I'm exercising. I'm driving. you know what I mean? Something like that. Anyway,
95% of it would just be like other. Like we know what it's other. I don't want to know.
Yeah. So for all the Apple developers that are huge fans of the show listening right now, I'm sure there's an idea for you, free of charge. I don't even need to be mentioned.
It's already on the roadmap. It's done. Coming out next month. Yeah,
exactly. Well, we are excited today for a conversation with Jason Hamrock. Jason is the CEO of Missional Marketing, a Christian marketing agency that specializes in helping churches through digital technology. Now, after serving in his local church as a communication director for 11 years, he joined Missional Marketing in 2015. And then actually was named CEO in 2017. He's met with, consulted with, spoken to hundreds of churches all over the country, speaks at conferences throughout the year, all about using technology, digital marketing for the church. And so we're excited to jump into a conversation all about that. Jason, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, Scott, Casey, pleasure to be here. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that you are celebrating National Ice Cream Day today in a glorious fashion.
If I could do that every day,
every day,
that'd be wonderful.
I'm with you. Well, one of the things that we love to ask everybody who comes on our show as we jump in, obviously we read the public bio. There's always the shorter public bio, but there's always some things that don't make that bio that all your friends and family would know about you. So what would something be for you?
I'm a really relaxed guy, but I love to be organized. So I live in Phoenix, but I have a yard. I love to do yard work. It's my therapy.
Yeah.
Nice.
So whenever I need to just break, I go do yard work. And that's just something I really love to do. And I love to joke around. I'm very relaxed in that sense. So my family, I got my wife Sarah of 27 years, and I got two boys that are college and high school. And so we have a blast together. We play cards and we just do life together. It's a lot of fun, but that's a little bit about me.
It's awesome.
I feel like I'm going to get this. Go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead. This is that awkward podcast moment when two people start talking at once. We both have such good
things to say.
I know.
I'm going to get this wrong, but I love what you talked about working with your hands. I saw something recently, people who work with their minds rest with their hands, and people who work with their hands rest with their minds. Mm-hmm. So there's this really, really beautiful story about a guy that I think he was an attorney, and his sister gifted him a pair of work gloves because his Sabbath, like his personal Sabbath, was working like in his yard or whatever. And so his family's like, it's your day off. Why are you working? But his rest was doing something with his hands because his work is something with his mind. And that I thought about that when you're picturing your non-existent desert yard.
I come up with more ideas doing yard work that I have to run back and just type that into my phone, going, "Oh, that's a great idea." Just because that's how my mind works. So I love it. It's fun.
All right, Scott, I talked over you. What were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like it's a miracle to live in Phoenix and have a yard. I feel like that's like an accomplishment in of itself. It speaks
Yeah.
to
I think
your
we need
skill
evidence.
level.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Because I
that
grew up in
good.
Iowa, so not far from you, Scott, in Chicago. I grew up in Iowa, and we were used to having big grassy yards, and I always loved to do that, in my parents' house and do it for neighbors. So I guess it was built into my DNA as I was growing up that landscaping is kind of fun. It's just my outlet. Yeah,
You
awesome.
moved to the desert and you're like, challenge accepted. I got this.
right.
I love it.
Yes.
I like it. Well, Jason, we would love to talk about what you do, missional marketing. And even like those two words, missional marketing, don't often seem to go together, not words that we often see paired, let alone in like your company name. So help us understand that. Like, how do these things that don't usually get paired together, how do they work together for you, for your company, for everyone that's there to better serve and grow the church?
Yeah. Our core values really speak into, we want to be servant leaders. And because we've said yes to Jesus, we're all on mission. And our job is to live out the talents and the gifts that he gave us and to go after the one. And love on the 99, but really go after the one. And so from a missional perspective, we are on target and on point for helping to expand the kingdom while we can here on earth. So that's kind of, if you cut all of this open, that's what's going to bleed out. Marketing wise, we just take our cues from Jesus. He was the master marketer, the best marketer ever. And, from us, I think marketing, from a secular standpoint, maybe has a negative connotation, but from a kingdom building perspective, it's what you do. It's storytelling. And Jesus was a master storyteller. And so we thought, man, this really clicks together. Missional marketing. We are on mission to go and seek and save the lost. And so that's kind of what that's what we've rallied around. And my prayer every time I talk to my staff is that if Jesus isn't in this, we want this to fold like a bad taco, because we want this to be about him and his purposes and his glory, not ours. So, when we think about missional marketing, it just kind of goes together, and we've just decided to play that out and serve churches in that space. And so far, it's been fun. It's been a great journey.
Yeah. Well, I imagine too, and I actually think this is a good thing, but there's actually some like re-education that probably happens in conversations, because, and Casey, we've talked with others where this has come up, where like people think marketing and then think sales and think, I'm not selling. I'm not trying to stand up and pitch somebody and, like we're working at like a mall kiosk or something. Like that's not what we're doing. So I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, but are you able to have some of those conversations where you can help people see, actually, here's how these things go together and really need to go together, especially in the digital age that we're living in?
Yeah, because I have a background of working in a church for so long, I fell in love with the local church during that time. And I realized that, wow, we have some really gifted, talented leaders. They're the best salespeople around because they can hold captive an audience to talk about what it means to follow Jesus and change their life. And they're really good at it. Now, they wouldn't call themselves a salesperson.
Right.
And neither do I. When I think about what I get to do at Missional Marketing is I get to talk with churches all the time. I love being a servant leader in that capacity and just helping them understand what they maybe don't know. But in that, I'm a relationship building problem solver. Mm-hmm. And that's all that is. And so it's not really marketing in a sense to me is how can I help you better communicate to people that need to hear the good news? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. We're sharing stories and information.
Yeah. I love it. Well, I know that, and I think we all know this because we all have a background in spending time in ministry. Churches, I can say this one of two ways. I'll say it maybe the kind way. Churches aren't always the fastest at maybe adopting change or new ways of doing things or new technology. And so what encouragement would you give to either somebody listening to this who's been on the fence of investing in their digital presence and all that includes, or even somebody who knows that, man, I'm working at a church, I know we need to do this, but I need to help my leadership understand this is why this matters, almost that sort of like convince my boss to let me do this type of thing.
I when I think about the digital everybody's got a phone. Everybody's using technology to live life. Really, I mean, from work, from home, from playing, it's all done in that capacity. And so, the days of people just showing up to church for the first time without ever investigating you is really low. Mm-hmm. I don't know the percentage, but I gotta think it's like under 5%, or if not lower. I mean, right? Because most people these days are going to check you out online. And so what's interesting is I think this has happened probably for the last decade or so, but definitely since COVID happened. And people are, before they even step foot in a church, they're going to watch for a season of time. I'm learning that that's anywhere from a month up to a year.
Wow.
Where they're watching online. And because what's happening is this, once they become aware of you, church, they're going to quickly determine if they like you. Mm-hmm. And if they like what they see on your web presence and your digital presence, they're going to move into, okay, start watching, and do I really trust these people? Mm-hmm. And that for some people is just, it takes a while. I know this because of the churches we partner with. They ask their people, how long have you been attending this church? And is this the first time? It's, oh no, we've been watching you online for months and we just decided to come in person. And so from that standpoint alone, we're so used to doing that. I'm always encouraging churches, you've got to make sure that you have a really good, solid digital footprint and presence, because that's happening. And if you're late to that, then, come on, get up to speed. It's not hard, but you can't avoid it. You can't. No, we're not about that. And I actually have some churches that have said that to me. I'm like, well, okay, it's not the only way you grow your church, but certainly even if your own people are inviting their friends, they're going to check you out online and use all the different tools to do that. And so there's that window of time where you have an opportunity to get people to like what they see, start watching and building trust enough where they're going to show up in person. Yeah.
And I know that there's different models of ministry. There's different philosophies. And so for some, it may not fit. I think for most, it just like the name missional marketing, a part of being missional is understanding the context in which you are in and the culture and being contextualizing to that, which, I mean, you can't argue that our culture is highly digital, highly, mobile, highly, plugged into social media, all of that stuff. So I think that's a great point. There may be some where it's like, okay, that's not our model for whatever reason, but I think for most, it's a matter of being really good missionaries where you're at.
It is. And it doesn't matter if you're a church of 50 or 50,000.
Yeah.
You have equal playing field.
Yeah.
So if you choose not to do it, okay, but good luck. I mean, a church that doesn't do that, we feel you're probably going to end up closing your doors or because there's no other way that's where people are.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting that you mentioned in like sharing or inviting. So the way that if I see something that is really interesting, I read an article, how am I going to share that with Scott? We have a relationship. We live in different places. I'm going to share that with him, probably through a link. I'm sending him to a website, or here's a thing I saw on Instagram that reminded me of you, or this is in relation to a topic we were just talking about. Yep. I'm probably likely to do that with everything else in my life. So how else would I share? Hey, I heard a great sermon. I discovered an amazing ministry. I'm going to share that. I'm not going to send you a bulletin or like drive over to your house and literally knock on your door. Not that you couldn't or that those things don't have value, but what is the most likely way I'm going to share something with someone, a coworker, a neighbor, a friend? I'm going to send them a link. So I hope you have a link to send to, and I hope that that link is representative of the excitement that I found. I want to send you to like, oh, sorry, here's the website, but trust me, it's great.
Yeah. Casey, I mean, that's God's plan A it's Christianity. It's passed on. We pass the baton on, and if you stop passing the baton, this thing doesn't continue.
Yeah.
So all we're doing is we're saying there are digital ways that you can pass that baton on.
That's good.
And why wouldn't you want to do that and help people wherever they are? And we've really built this funnel out to help churches understand you can go from awareness to attendance. And it isn't always about you're invited to church. Yes, you're invited to church. Sometimes people need help with their felt need issue. Their marriage is a problem. It's a wreck, right? They have an addiction issue. They are overcoming some grief. They've got parenting problems. And the church has answers. Yeah. And so what we try to do is equip churches with tools so that their congregation can share that. That's just as good, if not better, than talking to them one-on-one. Here's a resource for you to go check this out. That just plants the seeds for, I didn't even know this church was around. Now you've got awareness. And now I like these guys. Now I'm going to start to trust these guys. And that moves to an attendance where now you can, present the gospel. And you can do that anytime digitally. But that's just the funnel and the flow. And you're absolutely right. Churches that do not take advantage of that are really shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so far behind.
Yeah. Well, let's just say the person who's asking that question or was on the fence, like we just convinced them. So they're like, I just heard it. I'm in. You know what? This is absolutely. What's some low hanging fruit for churches to take advantage of to increase that digital presence and really improve how they're connecting with people, how people are finding them. And when I say low hanging fruit, I'm also kind of thinking, what are some of I'm new to this. How can I kind of jump into it?
Yeah, I probably have a dozen things you could do, but let's talk about two that I think are really easy to understand, own, and move forward. Number one is your website. Most times when I look at a church website, I see a brochure about the church. Okay, not bad, but why can't that turn into more of a resource tool? Like Casey, you were just saying, like, what if there was a great article on your children's ministry page about parenting elementary kids, how to pray with your kids at the dinner table or how to talk to them about social media, like stuff like that we could speak into. What if that article was on your children's page and it was shareable, right? So every page on your website should not just be a brochure about that particular ministry or the church as a whole, but actually have some content that you can read and engage with and share. So that's the first. That's easy. If you don't know what to do, use AI. Type in how to talk to my children about Jesus, and AI will help you. I mean, I don't know if that'll be right or wrong, but if you're just stuck, start there.
Yeah.
So I'm always a big fan of utilizing your website as your most valuable tool, and here's why: you own it. You don't own any other. You don't own Facebook, your Facebook page. You don't own your YouTube channel. None of that. You don't own it. You rent it.
You're renting space.
You own your website. Yeah. Okay. So
I think you need to really pause and help. That's really obvious to us. That is not obvious. So I don't mean to stop and ask you to be redundant and be like, can you explain what you just meant? Like, you don't own your Facebook. That might actually not make sense to a lot of people.
Yeah, you don't. Facebook can right now, just one click of the button, turn you up. Turn it off.
Jason? How can they do that?
Because it's their property, not yours.
And because we all click a user agreement that nobody ever reads that says we'll do what we want when we want if we want.
Yeah. I mean, Instagram, they've got they just released what is it called that they just released? It just came out and it's a part of Instagram. Thread. Yeah. And if you read the terms and condition in Thread, if you
turn no one's read that. No one has read it.
If you turn on Threads, okay. And you engage using Threads and Instagram, This is in the terms and conditions. If you shut it off, your Instagram page gets shut down.
Wow.
Again, goes back to you don't own this stuff.
Yeah.
You just use it. You kind of rent it for free. They want to make money off of you. The only thing you own is your website. It's your property.
Wow.
So pour into your website.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the first thing. Second is your Google business profile. Now, just so you're like, what's that? Hey, church, Google your name. Okay. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see your profile. It's going to have your name. If you don't have one, talk to me. I'll help you out.
Start there.
But you should have one, right? Google gives it to you. There's so many great tools inside that Google business profile that can absolutely get your name out there all over the place. It's amazing how often I have to tell churches, are you adding your like Easter services, your Christmas services, the Harvest Festival party, the VBS thing that you're doing, the big event, picnic you're having? Are you adding that to your Google business profile? They're like, no. Like, okay, when you add that to your Google business profile, what happens is that event and those details get scattered all over your community on things to do, on calendar of events all over the place. And you literally you'll go from literally no impressions to 50,000 impressions about your event.
Yep.
And that costs you nothing.
Yeah.
Just some time. And they're like, I can do that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So understanding how you can use Google and all their tools, especially their Google business profile, telling you that alone is that Google business profile is really the brochure that people choose to know something about you before they go to your website.
Yeah.
Right? You and I do this, right? If we're going to go check something out, we're going to look at photos and reviews. We check out Google, we check out Yelp, maybe jump into Facebook, but certainly Google and Yelp. And if you're not adding photos, adding some videos to that sermon snippets, getting reviews and responding to those reviews, you are not doing what you should be. This stuff is free.
Yeah.
That's the lowest hanging fruit when your website and Google business profile, easy.
I think that Google business profile, I think, is one of those things that just goes over people's heads, probably not the right way to say it, but just isn't on the radar. Yeah. But just like anyone listening to this, pause, like you just said, like how often do we make decisions off of those things for what are we going to go do? What are we going to partake in? What, you know what I mean? And that's massive. Is there any part in particular of the Google business profile that you've noticed churches usually miss this or do a poor job? I know one thing I did previously in ministry, we actually sent to our members. We said, hey, go on, leave a review, an honest review. We're not like lie about us, but obviously it's our members. So hopefully they're like, we love this place. But anything that you could speak to there that could help? Yeah, reviews. I don't see a lot of people responding to reviews. Okay, and why do you respond to reviews? 3 reasons. Number 1, that person that wrote that review gets notification that you took the time to respond to it. So good, bad, or ugly, especially the ugly ones, respond. Second, I as a user, if I'm investigating your church, I see that you took the time to respond. Right. If I don't see any responses, that kind of tells me something about you. Yeah. And third, Google's always watching. So part of the algorithm of getting into that Google local pack, and I'm not going to go in the weeds here, getting into making sure that Google recognizes that your business is open and in the right spot helps you grow in that local pack presence. How do they know this? You're involved in your Google business profile. If you don't ever check it out, Google's like, not sure if they're even open. Yeah. So adding photos, like 4 or 5 photos a month, adding your sermon snippet every week, asking for and responding to reviews, adding events like that. That's the kind of juice that really helps your presence on Google go up. Nice. And there's some other things, but those are the low hanging fruit ones that I want to mention.
Even as you were talking about the Google profile, I was just thinking about my habits. I use Google Maps and Chrome for almost everything. So those business profiles that, to Scott's point, like kind of go over your head, not to say that as if you don't understand it, but like we don't think about it because it's just so easy. I was thinking that's my go-to if I need to know operating hours, a quick phone number. I use that more often to check restaurant reservations. Then I link out to a website. But I'm habitually, probably more than I even realize that I'm doing it, I'm using Google to get the answer. It's almost like a micro website. That might be a horrible, you're like, I wish you hadn't have said that, but for a kind of is. For a slightly more like, again, not a bad thing, like an ignorant user, I'm using Google as the website so that I don't have to go to your website to find really basic information. Yeah. So to your point, if it's not on there, I'm going to maybe abort my search. I'm going to like find something else. So that's just such a missed opportunity that I didn't even think about.
And you know, you can put videos on there. So what about a sermon snippet?
It's awesome.
I mean, talk about like, no, I'm thinking about going to the church. I'm going to watch a 30-minute sermon.
Right. How about 30 seconds?
I watch a 30-second one and maybe I'll go, wow, that's really good. I'll watch another one. I like that.
Yeah.
Click. Now I'm on their website because I'm telling you, this is just what people do in their daily lives. So we think that they're going to do something different when it comes to the church, especially if they're unchurched or de-churched people. No, that's exactly what they do. We see this. The numbers don't lie. The data from Google tells us that you're getting reviews looked at, you're getting photos looked at, they're checking your presence out. They're clicking on your website. They're calling you. They're clicking on direction requests. All that stuff's in Google. And so
most of this is free, right?
It's free.
I mean, it's like to take advantage of that for some of the smaller churches or go, I am a shop of one staff member. You're telling me my website needs to be fantastic. Like ideally, yes, but also there's this completely free thing that's going to help you. So start there. Spend $0.
5 minutes a week.
Yeah.
5 minutes a week. It's not hard. It's just consistency, right? So anyway.
I love that. Well, Jason, you kind of talked about this a little bit earlier with passing the baton, which I almost said these words, but I waited because I wanted to ask you this later. But isn't that kind of what the Great Commission literally is all about? It's just go and tell, right? Like, and it sounds like that's kind of like what you guys have built your entire company to do. But literally, what do you guys wake up every day? What do you come to work to do as missional marketing to serve and to partner with churches to help them do that, to fulfill the Great Commission in their communities?
Well, we take it pretty serious that we need to know what the latest and greatest with technology, what's going on. How can I educate and teach people about Google? AI. Come on now. That thing is changing daily.
Yeah.
So we have invested a ton of resource into learning AI and building some AI software to help churches understand how to use it and then and do ministry with it. Not be afraid of it. So we wake up, and when I wake up, I think I just want to be a servant leader to a church and help them better understand how they can reach people. Again, the one, right? I care a lot about the 99, but we're always going after the one. And how can we build tools to help them reach them better? And that's what we've done. And so a lot of churches that we partner with, they'll utilize kind of our funnel system, if you will, about how you can build your awareness, utilizing a lot of these great tools that are out there. And so that people can become aware of who you are, get to know you, determine if they like you, and move to trust that moves to attendance. And we're trying to meet people where they are with their felt need issue. And so, we wake up every morning going, okay, Lord, we're really wanting to tackle this issue of helping churches understand technology, bridging that gap. But it's all 100% of it's in the relation to the focus of reaching the one person who doesn't know who Jesus is. And we know the local church is that answer, right? It's through the local church. And so if we can connect that, that's what really gets us going.
and as churches are listening to this, if they're feeling like, man, this is a whole world that I see the importance, I know we got to do it, and I know nothing about it, and I'm just maybe at the point where I don't have the capacity to learn, desire, whatever it might be. Can they come like how can you all help them? I'd love for you to just kind of share maybe some of the ways that you practically, help with some of this stuff. And then if you could, I'd love for you to let, our listeners know where they can connect with you. Cause this is such a big thing, but it can be challenging at times.
It can be. And so awareness is a big part of this. If you don't know it, you're not, maybe you're afraid of it, you're certainly unaware and you're just not motivated. But once you understand how this can help your digital presence reach and engage tons of people in your community, then you're going, okay, I want more of it. Yeah. That's what our church partners tell us all the time. We want more of that. So we've got a team of about 70 people at Missional Marketing, and a lot of them are coaches that have worked in a local church, and now they're part of our team. And so we're constantly always meeting with new churches, just showing them. We love to run reports for churches. We'll use some tools to let you know how you're doing when it comes to Google, the good, the bad, the ugly, as I say, and tell you what you need to work on. And then just take time to explain some things to you. Okay. And that's how we've grown. And sometimes it makes sense to hire us. Sometimes it makes sense that you can do that on your own. But we first need to equip you with the knowledge of what you don't know. Yeah. And usually that's the pain point. Is I just don't know this stuff. Okay. Yeah. We can help you alleviate that pain point so you can make an informed decision on what to do. Yeah.
Well, I have one more question. We'll jump into our final five, but this seems like a good place to say, how can people get in touch with you then if they want to learn, connect, kind of explore? What's the best place to do that?
Well, probably on our website. We own that website.
There you go.
I should hope so.
Yeah, missionalmarketing.com. And on there's a spot where you can schedule some time with myself or one of our coaches. And we'd love to spend 30 minutes or 60 minutes with anybody just talking to them about how we can help them and answer their questions. So missionalmarketing.com is the best way. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, Jason Hamrock. I don't do a lot of social media. I just don't. Yeah. I love the tool. I just don't. And so but that's the best way to probably connect with us is go to missionalmarketing.com. And there's a ton of free resources on our website that we've just spent years pouring into. So take advantage of it.
Yeah. Well, we'll link to that for sure. So that people can easily do that. But the last question I'd love to ask, and we ask this about everyone, our goal again with this podcast, empowering healthy churches. So in your opinion, what's one essential component of a healthy church?
That's a great question. And I kind of want to speak to the digital side because there's a lot of great people that talk about healthy churches. Tony Morgan, he's phenomenal at, helping people get unstuck. But I think from a digital presence, it's that you've wrapped your arms around and you are consistent. That's a key word right there. Mm-hmm. You're consistent in what you're doing when it comes to your social channels or your website, making sure that you're utilizing all the Google tools. When I see that, then I go, okay, I think you've got a pretty healthy presence. And when I see a website that's just like, let's just call it embarrassing. I'm like, okay, you're apparently you're not very serious about wanting to grow. Yeah. And so that a little bit is unhealthy right there. And it starts with a website, but then I can hop over to your Facebook page, your Instagram page. I'll look at your Google profiles and I'll see do you have any reviews on your on Google? Oh, you have 2. How many people go to your church? Probably more than 2. Yeah. So that's kind of when I see that there's growth and there's consistency, that tells me you're doing the right things, right? And you're probably you have a digital healthy presence going on. Yeah. It's pretty easy to see, and people know. They know what they struggle at, and if you struggle at that, talk to us. We'd love to help you. Alleviate that pain point.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Well, we're going to jump into our final 5. These are kind of rapid fire. And we love hearing these answers. So first one is this: what's one book that you'd recommend to church leaders?
Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Okay. Go read that book, get the audio version, listen to it, then go buy it. By the way, I always buy on Audible. I listen to a book, and if I like it, I go buy it.
Oh, interesting. I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm doing a lot of yard work.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Or I'm working out if I'm running or something that I love to listen to audios. And that I'm like, okay, there's some good stuff there. Then I go buy it. Then I highlight the stuff that I really want to.
You're a highlighter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I do that. But Donald Miller, I tell you, building a story brand is such a really great tool for you as you're building your website or redoing your church website, because it's not about you. Just one piece of advice: never put your mission statement on the homepage above the fold.
Ooh.
Nobody cares about your mission statement.
Yeah.
You do, but nobody outside your church really cares that you're trying to reach the world and save the lost.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to anybody. So
Yeah.
make it about them. That's a story brand, a little bit of a story brand model. So Donald Miller, building a story brand.
That was some really good free advice right there. If nothing else,
Yeah.
don't do that. I love that.
Bunch of people going to edit their websites right now.
Oh no.
Pause button.
Yeah. Good. If we have reached the 1 today, then that's what it was for. I like that.
There you go.
Jason, what's the last thing that you listened to? Spotify, Apple, whatever.
80s rock.
Yes.
I just doing it this morning because go run and stuff. Sometimes I don't always want to fill my brain. I need a break. So I just always listen to 80s because it's the best.
Perfect running music.
That's
Perfect running music.
I love it.
Totally support that.
What's your favorite piece of technology? And you can't say your phone.
I'm guessing you're talking like because my watch. I love this thing, and it is a saver because I can just glance and smack it out. And I don't have to worry about ever touching anything. I'll answer it phone and if I need to or whatnot. But that's just probably my favorite piece of technology is my Apple Watch. It helps me, and I have to be really careful about it because I don't like it when we're on calls and people are doing this. Right.
Yeah.
That's just annoying. Don't ever do that.
Yeah.
But I can just kind of like glance around like that. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
So my Apple Watch is my favorite piece of technology.
I'm curious. Do you feel phantom vibrations when you're not wearing it?
Every now and then.
It's a problem.
I know. It's kind of like, I'm like, did it go off? No, it didn't. Okay.
Yes. I don't
my
think
nervous system is now moving throughout my body.
I did not have FOMO until I had an Apple Watch, and now I constantly it's a good bad problem. So boundaries, but
yeah, boundaries.
Jason, is there a quote, a piece of wisdom that has just really stuck with you over the years?
Yeah, I've been in this a long time, and I've led a lot of different people, and I've come to realize that you can tell people what they should do, but it's better to lead them there and almost make it like it was their idea. So I keep encouraging people. If I want something done, I won't make it a rule. I'll just start saying like, hey, we should do this. Hey, we should do this. And eventually they start saying it. And now they've owned it. And now I got what I wanted. It took a little longer.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's the best way because you want people owning what you want done. But if you just dictate to them, now sometimes you have to do that every now and then, but if you just keep dictating to them, then they don't own anything. It's like, well, you told me I have to do that. I don't really own that. So that's probably the best piece of advice I ever learned was, help guide people to the destination you want them to go.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Last one. What's one thing that you'd like to communicate to our audience of church leaders?
AI.
Ooh.
It is here, and it's going to affect your church.
Yeah.
Well, you can say it's not. It's going to. I actually think this is probably the third biggest shift. The first one came when the Gutenberg press came around, right? And there's probably a lot of nervousness about that from some people. And other people are like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, then comes the internet. And that was a massive shift. And now here we are with AI. And I think a lot of pastors are afraid of it. That's just my gut. And talking to a lot. In fact, I talked to a pastor. He's like, he thinks up to 85% of pastors are afraid of AI.
Wow.
Okay. Don't be afraid of it. Understand it. We actually have launched ai.missionalmarketing.com. Go check it out. And because we want to inform you of the power of AI. And just like anything in the world, it can be used for good or bad.
Yeah.
Okay. But God's not like, well, that was really clever of them. He knew this. Like, this is what he's given us, right? He's given us this tool.
Yep.
And so my advice to leaders is to embrace this technology that's going to hit you. And to the point of not just using it inside your church, like inside of operations or communications or even sermon prep, but actually informing your congregation about good things and bad things, like things you need to know about parents, about AI and how it's going to, pastor, you're an influencer. You've got to equip yourself with knowledge about this. Don't be the one that goes, I don't know anything about it, because other people are going to be informing your congregation about things. And that's just my advice to them, is stay ahead of that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Super good. Well, Jason, we appreciate your time, appreciate what you all are doing, and the way you're helping churches navigate a space that I think is going to see a lot of fruit, which is that digital space, and helping to go after the one. And we appreciate the wisdom that you shared today. Would encourage everybody. We'll link in the show notes to your website to both connect with you, to check out those resources, and really continue to grow and learn from you. And we want to thank those of you listening or watching this as well for your time, for your attention, and for spending some moments with us. Really hope that it was helpful for you, and that it will help in continuing to empower healthy churches. If you would like, you can comment, you can subscribe, you can give a review, you can, for bonus points, you can even share this with somebody, send them a link and say, hey, this was cool, check it out, or say whatever you'd like. But we appreciate your time. We hope that this has blessed you, and we'll see you next time.
This episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast is brought to you by Ministry Brands, the largest provider of church technology software. Over 90,000 churches rely on Ministry Brands for their single platform solution that brings together all the digital tools a church needs. From online giving to websites to church management software and more, Ministry Brands is leading the way in simple to use, innovative solutions, all with the goal of empowering healthy churches. To learn more, visit ministrybrands.com.